Hello, Katie here from Katie's World. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in today. In the previous video of this mini album technique series, we just added the clear acetate onto this pocket and we already scored our lines. So go ahead and watch that if you haven't already. And I show you how I score these lines here. We're making a gusseted pocket. So it's deep. It has depth. And I'm going to show you how to add the tape and how to trim the corners and actually adhere it to our album. This video is featuring our Magical Lands album, not yet available when this video goes live. However, once the album is available, it's going to be a few months, but once it is available, I will put the direct link in there. For now, please check out my shop. We will find all kinds of fun projects available right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. So I'm going to be using the score tape, the 3/8 inch size score tape for this. I'm going to start over here. Now when I do my pockets, I always start this way with the unscored edge on my left because I want to add my tape just hanging over the edge a bit. And I'm right-handed, so if you're left-handed, it'll probably be opposite. And then I trim it off. Now the corner is going to get cut off. So not to waste more tape, I don't go over the edge there, just on here because I want the coverage to go all the way to the end. And I'm placing the tape right in the center between the score line and the edge of the cardstock. You do not want to go over the edge of the cardstock. You do not want to touch that score line. So right in the middle. And I'm on the front of the pocket, so on the textured side in this particular case. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this over, and I like to trim this off on the back so I can rest my scissors against the cardstock and careful not to trim off any of that cardstock. Okay, then I'm going to take my bone folder and just smooth that out, burnish the tape down really well, especially on the ends here because you don't want that pulling up when you're trying to remove the tape back in. Okay, so now to trim the corners, there's a little box you'll see right here because we've got a gusset going on. I'm not sure if you can see that in the video, but there's a little box right there where the lines crisscross. You want to cut right in the center. Let me actually draw this for you because I think that might be easier for you to see. Just use a pen here. Okay, so you've got your gussets, right? Like this. So you have your double score lines. So then you're going to have this box. We're going to cut off the corner right through that box. Just like that. So we're just going to cut this off. So go right where it crisscrosses here and here and just cut off that corner. So I hope that visual helps a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to place my blade right through those crisscross lines and just cut off that corner. Okay, I'm going to do this to both sides. Right through it. Okay. Now we need to cut that little extra piece off. So right here, we don't want this triangle. There's a little triangle right there now. We need to just cut that off completely. So just take your scissors, just cut up to that score line, and there we go. So we've cut out that little triangle. So now it looks like this. Sure, is that focusing? Sorry. I think that's focusing there. So yeah, you see that little notch? We got to cut that off of both sides. All right, so now I've got that cut off of both sides. Now it's very important before we adhere this to our book, we want to burnish, fold and burnish on the score lines so that they're ready to go into the album. Okay, so I'm going to start with the score line closest to the inside. So I'm just going to pull up both of those score lines. I'm going to burnish down. And then I'm going to take it and pull it back. And now I'm going to burnish on that outer score line. Okay. So now I've got both score lines treated and creased and ready to go. Is that showing up in the camera there? See that? So now that's going to be our gusset. That's the thickness of our pocket, so we can add a little bit more than in a normal pocket. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other two sides. I'm going to do that inner score line and now the outer score line. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this to, oh, okay, one thing I forgot to do, in this particular case, it's not a big deal, I just recommend it. So if you're working on this particular album that I'm doing, I have a frame that's supposed to go, you put the frame down first. This is going to go on top, and I do use liquid glue to add this so that the whole thing is stuck down. I forgot to do that before I added the tape, the acetate. Now, I'm still going to do it because I gotta, but I definitely recommend gluing this first before your acetate, because if any glue oozes out, you're going to get that glue right on your acetate. So, yeah, just a little tip there. Make sure you add that first before the acetate, just to prevent the glue oozing out. So I'll just add mine later off camera, but there's the little tip for you there. Okay, so let's grab our book. Now this is the inside front cover pocket of volume 2 from our Magical Lands album set. That's gonna go right on the inside here. Okay, so we have an inside cover lining. I don't know if you can see that here, but there's an actual lining piece. And we actually added this in our video, the lining video, if you want to check that out, how we did that. Real simple. So this pocket has to be lined up perfectly with the inside cover lining piece. And so yes, you're lining up the sides and the bottom. So here's the tricky part, and I recommend only removing one side of tape first, because you don't want your pocket to end up going down flat. Like if this spreads out, let's see if you can see that. You don't want to adhere it with this spread out. You need to keep that 90-degree angle so that your pocket is closed. You see that, how it's closed? You want it just like that. Okay, so that's the trick. So what we're going to have to do is, I'm only going to remove the tape from this side, and I'm going to make sure this is all the way down, and then I'm going to stick it to the edge. So I'm going to pull out, see, I've got the score line here. I'm going to pull out the edge that's closest to, or the score line that's closest to the edge. I'm going to remove the tape on just this side. And then I'm going to make sure the bottom of this is flush with the bottom of the inside lining. And the outer score line I've pulled out so it's flat. And that edge, it has to be to the edge of the lining, okay? And I'm pushing this piece in just so it doesn't throw me off. Make sure your book is right side up. Always check and double check. Okay, so I'm pushing in the bottom and I'm pulling out the side, okay? If that makes sense. So you don't see any extra score lines here. I'm pushing those back. I'm pulling all the score lines out here so you see one score line and then you're folded on the other. This is going to go all the way down. Line it up with that corner. Press it down. Okay, so perfect. So I'm just going to press it down real nice. And now you can see, hopefully, that I've got this score line that's closest to the edge is lined up with the lining piece. And you can see that down here, the bottom edge is lined up with the lining piece. So here's the trick. Now we need to stick down this piece. We need to push this that way. Make sure the edge is at a 90-degree angle. Okay, and this goes for any size any width of a gusset that you have. You might have a 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch gusset, whatever gusset you have, the technique is exactly the same, how you're putting it down. Okay, so I'm going to push this over so I make sure this is at a 90-degree angle. And I'm going to remove the tape backing from just the bottom. I got to pull this out, and I got to make sure that this score line at the bottom here, closer to the edge, is lined up with the inside lining. And it's hard to do without light right on it, but... And I remember, got to push it. So I'm lining it up, but I also need to push it and make sure I'm at a 90-degree angle over here. Lots of things to remember on this one step, I know. Okay, just gotta get some light on there so I can see. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my ruler, because I have that handy, and I'm gonna slip it in there because I want to press down and make sure that's the edge is good and stuck on there. But if I press onto it, I could flatten my pocket. So I'm going to stick my ruler in there because it's about, maybe a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch, but it's got that thickness on it. So I can push all the way to the corner, and I'm just going to press on the ruler only. That way I'm not flattening my pocket, but I'm putting pressure down on that hinged part so that I know it's good and stuck. And once I have my decorative paper glued in there, then it's really good. All right. So now the last bit, well, let me show you that up close. I don't think I showed you how it looks. So now it looks just like this. You've got your gusset, you've got your corner closed off. Might be having trouble focusing there. Well, anyway, you've got the corner piece down. You see that nice gusset there. Okay. So I'm going to pull this out, remove the tape backing. Same thing. I still need to be careful. I got to make sure this outer score line, I got to push it in now, push it in this way, and make sure it's at a 90-degree angle and lined up with the lining. Okay. Oh, and push down. So much to remember. I don't know if I got it down far enough. I think it's fine. So I'm gonna make sure. I think it's all right. So I'm gonna slide my ruler in there all the way to the corner and then just press it down. Sorry, it's a big project. I'm trying to keep it all in camera here. Okay. So there we go. So that's it. So that's how you add a gusseted pocket to your project. So just quickly, I'm going to show you, I'm going to glue this all on off camera so you don't have to sit and watch me glue everything. But what I'll do is I'll add glue here and then I'll slide it in very carefully till it's all the way down. It might get stuck on that hinge, so just beware of that, but it's got to go over it, and then you're just going to center it. You're going to have a 1/8 of an inch border from your inside lining, so it's centered on your inside lining piece. And then this is going to get glued on. Like I said, I would have done this beforehand if I had remembered about that. And it's going to look just like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that down off camera. But I want to say thank you so much for staying to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more videos from me, please click the subscribe button. Click that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the magic. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram for updates on upcoming projects. And thank you so much again, and have a great day.